Welcome, Kelly Garcia-Ramos.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Kelly. This is a huge honor. We have a lot of topics to cover, so let's get started. Okay, so can you talk about the origin, uh, you know, of your stutter at um at what age was the onset?
Yeah, so I think that the onset was pretty much as like early on as I could remember. So like as a so like so like as from a young age, my parents would tell me that like I didn't talk a lot as a kid, and they thought that like I just like didn't speak a lot. But then as time progressed, as I got into kindergarten, they saw that like I was stuttering a lot. And it was the majority of the reason why like I didn't speak. Um, and when I got into kindergarten, I started doing speech therapy there. Um, and like I always knew that like yeah, something was wrong with me with speech, but I didn't quite process it until like later in life, until middle school. Yeah.
So does it run in your a family? Are there any other family members who stutter?
Yes, so my mom stutters. She also has been stuttering for as long as she could remember. To my recollection, I think that my grandfather also stutters, but she doesn't talk about that a lot. The only information that I know is that like she stutters, and it's probably like it's like genetic. It's been passed down. So yeah, that's kind of what I know.
See, and that is interesting, Kelly, because my mom also had a stutter. She had it growing up, um, and um, and I mean, I don't know how. I don't know how, but when she was in her teenage years, she had told herself that she was done with it. She's like, Psh, uh, I'm tired. I am
Mhm.
angry. I'm tired. I'm done with it. And I don't know how or why, but she stopped. I mean, it just I mean, it blows
Mhm.
I mean, my whole mind because how I had acquired my mind was through a dog attack. So I don't know, you
Mm.
know, was I already, genetically going to get it from her, or had the you know a dog bite, hit a switch. I mean, I don't know, but I still have mine.
Mm.
Hers is all gone, and so I mean, I mean, it's a head scratcher, Kelly. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting because I know that like um that specifically like with my family, they 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 sometimes so, like try to attribute my stutter to other things to make it seem as if to make it seem to make it seem as if something happened to me that even we have it, and like it wasn't just going to happen anyway. So so I think that there's something to think about there as well, especially because I know that that the most common type of stuttering um is like is like uh, with genetic stuttering. and it's not very common for someone to get to get quote get stuttering from a like from some sort of physical trauma, although it may happen, but it's not as common. Um, so yeah, so there's something like pretty interesting there as well.
Oh yeah, it is a head scratcher because because there are days that I wonder, had I not had that dog attack, would it have hit me? I just don't know. But you know what?
Yeah,
I still have mine. I'm still hashtag awesome. That's all there.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
all there is to it, Kelly. I got it
Yeah.
going on. All right. All right. So you had talked about going to speech therapy in school. Was it helpful?
No, it wasn't helpful. Long story short, it wasn't helpful. Long story. I've been in the public school system um, for my entire life. Like I've been in public school from kindergarten to high school until that's why I got into college. Um, and with that, like when I was in kindergarten, because I got speech therapy like every week, up until probably middle school. When I graduated 8th grade, I probably got it like once a week or like once every other week, something like that. But so as I got into high school, speech therapy was at a very low frequency. So like I had speech therapy kind of like every other um, like every other month or so, or like every month. So that was very hard for me. Um, so I didn't have any like support. I didn't know that there was any other option for me. Um, but although like so when I was in 6th grade, I did go put to a local pediatric hospital for um, uh, for support with speech therapy. But um, uh, so maybe we can get some more into this later. But like I actually started to feel self conscious because I went to the hospital for speech therapy. Like I started to have some more self awareness about like being embarrassed about my stutter, and that really affected me for the entirety of my life, even today. So yeah.
Ooh, Kelly, I got to tell you. So I'm a lot older than you are, Kelly. So when I was in speech therapy back in 1975, ooh, Kelly, that's a long time away. That's a long time. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So here is how they would call me out to attend speech therapy. There was a PA, and the school counselor would call on the PA, Pedro Pena, to speech therapy in the office. Kelly, the entire school heard it. As if school wasn't hard enough,
Oh,
Kelly.
oh
Let's
no.
just add more stuff to Pedro's life. Let's make it even
Yes.
more,
Oh my god.
difficult, more just stressful. And it's like, you know what? It would have been easier, Kelly, just to have, to,
Mhm.
to just have a person come to the room, knock on the door, and
Mhm.
ask for me. I would have loved that. But no, back in the 1970s, Kelly, it was a whole other thing. And ooh, yes, I also had it once every week. And I've had it for 20 years. And so, so what you're hearing now is 20 years of really hard work. However, I
Yeah.
still have it. So, I have my good days, I have my not so good days, but you know what? I keep on trucking. I keep moving forward because, um, you know,
Mhm.
be, 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 because I know where I was. And so, I am happy now. I am happy now. So, okay, you were talking about school. So, how was school with having a stutter?
Oh, Pedro.
Tell me, Kelly.
Oh my
Tell me.
God.
Tell Pedro.
Mm-mm. So school was school was hard. Um, school's very hard. Specifically because I used to get made fun of a lot for my speech, but I was also made fun of because because I present femininely. Like I was deemed like a so, almost like ugly by like all the other kids, and I was like on top of me having stutter. I was bullied because I was quote ugly, right? So it was so being a a a a Afro Latinx person, like I'm really hairy, like so my arms, I have a lot of hair on my head, facial hair, stuff like that. And so I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Hispanic people who can relate to this. To being hairy and like especially like as a feminine person, like I was bullied a lot for that. Um, and but I guess making friends was also very difficult. So before I was self conscious for my stutter specifically, I started to like try to like talk to people, and like I tried to be like, hey, I'm Kelly. What's your name? Like trying to to make friends at school, but nobody really wanted to like hang out with me because they had their cliques, they had their own connections, and they just wanted to like be with their own people, and I just didn't like I wasn't able to really like get into these almost like into these groups. The only redeeming quality that I had in school was that like I was like smart, very academically gifted, and people would just like try to partner up with me for projects and stuff like that, but not really to make friends. So that was what was the kindergarten was like, and to middle school as well. Just like through that time period. Especially growing up in like a very low income community, like there was not like a lot of awareness, like a lot of like people who were really interested in that kind of thing. So for me to be proud of like a starter was like was like unheard of for me. So yeah, but I tried to talk to my mom about it because so my mom was like my confidant. Like I just told her everything, and she would always be like, just keep pushing, just just keep pushing because like you have something that others don't, and just like trying to make me feel better for being different. But I never really like felt that like it helped. But she did the best she could. But I'm pretty sure like it's very common for people of color who started to have parents that like that just tell them to just keep pushing, to just like keep moving forward, because that is all we do. That is all we do, to just keep pushing, just get through it, and like things will be fine, and to just like have that faith that like things will just be fine without like having to figure out what can I do to make it better. um yeah, so that was my experience in like K through 8. But like in high school things got like a little bit better. The kids were more mature, a tiny bit more mature. So I didn't get made fun of as much, but I did get made fun of in freshman year when people like started to get to know me, and when I was like presenting for like group projects and stuff like that, people would laugh at me. People would like try to look around. People would like not know how to react when I like started, and like I had really bad like some really bad anxiety. So because it was really a a very terrifying experience to go to the same K through 8 school for my entire life, and then go to a new school where kids didn't know me and kids didn't know the way that I spoke. So that was very difficult for me. Yeah.
Ooh, Kelly, I think we're twins. What happened to you happened to me, Kelly. Ooh, let me tell you. I would eat in the janitor's closet because nobody wanted to hang out with a kid who couldn't talk. I ate behind the school. I was isolated and mocked and teased and bullied, and in high school, just like you, it got a little better. Not much, but a little better. And so yeah, I mean, school was, what kids are mean. Just hands down, kids are mean. And so, I had experienced what you had experienced, in school. And it's like, oh no, have to move on, Kelly. Have to move on. So,
Exactly.
mhm. Okay, now, so do you have any advice for parents, teachers, and speech therapists with regards to children who stutter?
Yeah, so in terms of speech therapists, I actually got to work with some speech therapists in my through my college career. Not for like speech therapy, but I got into to the speech pathology like field. And but I didn't anticipate to. But that would be like a question for maybe like later on in the podcast. Anyways, um, but I was able to work with some and to meet some, and like not as a patient, but just like as like another person who stutters, through like support groups, through meetings, stuff like that. And I think that the main focus for speech pathology now, at least where I live, is to allow kids to accept that they have this stutter, and that they have this thing that may or may not go away, and to be okay with it either way, um, and to focus on trying to live with it, and trying to find things that work for you to try and work through those rough moments, and not to focus on curing it, because I think that the main thing, like a neurodivergency, is to like cure these things, to cure stuttering, to cure things, things like things like things that people are cure things that people are born with, like autism and ADHD. Procuring procuring those things can like spread the stigma of like it being preventable, or it being something to be fixed, like instead of something to accept, put the natural variety to life. It could be better, but it could get worse. But either way, to accept that this is something that you live with, and this experience can only be can only be made better by people who can help you find what works for you specifically. And same thing with parents, and same thing with people who have loved ones who stutter. Like, we're trying to to help them find community. Community has been really important for me, because I didn't know that there were communities around people who stuttered, around people who were like speech pathologists, who were interested in like finding voices of people who stutter, right? So trying to find community, trying to find people who are like you, who doesn't have to be about stuttering specifically, but trying to encourage those you love to put a go and could join clubs at their school or to try to find support groups in their area for anything that they find pertinent to them. Even like trying to find hobbies, like something that can help them through this hard time. But I know that there are a lot of people who stutter, including me, and I'm pretty open about this. Like I struggle with depression and anxiety and PTSD, right? And so I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people who stutter who have trauma associated with stuttering and maybe not associated with stuttering. So trying to tackle stuttering as like part of a mosaic of what makes you you, and trying to treat it as like to treat it holistically instead of just like just targeting that to that small part and pretending that like it's gonna be all better because of it. So
Ooh, Kelly, look, I don't know if you can see, but ooh, I got them goosebumps, Kelly.
yep.
Ooh. So hold on, I got to breathe because that was powerful. Because ooh, okay, hold on. Got that goosebumps, Kelly. You're hashtag awesome. You are hashtag awesome, Kelly. All right.
Thank
So
you.
I love how right now, I mean, you just spoke beautiful words. They are addressing it holistically. Ooh, because when
Exactly.
when I was in it, the main goal was to have Pedro talk like everybody else. So I felt that I was broken, that I was, damaged. And so, I mean, every week in speech therapy, it reminded me I'm broken and you know, I'm damaged. And I
Hmm.
wished, but as you know, it was the 1970s. So, hardly any research, just hardly anything. And so I experienced everything that you were talking about. The depression, there is darkness attached, and it had led me down to a path where I had a gun in my hand. It led me to anxiety, fear. Ooh, Kelly, fear is a persistent emotion. I mean,
Yes, it's.
right.
Hmm.
And it completely had controlled every aspect of my life for 35 years, Kelly. 35 years.
Hmm.
It completely had control over me. And um so you know, so when I turned 40, I told myself that that's it. I'm done. I love Pedro. Pedro just has a stutter. I had that. I had that. What Oprah? She, uh, you know, uh, talks about I had an aha moment where I woke up and I said, Pedro, you are awesome. And I love me some Pedro. I am going to embrace it because Kelly, every day, I, f- I fought it every single day. And so I don't have to tell you, Kelly, it is exhausting. It is
Hmm.
draining mentally, physically, psychologically. Yeah, I'm testifying today, Kelly. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
and so it was awesome the day that I woke up and I turned the big 40. I said, I'm done. I love Pedro. Pedro is awesome. He has a stutter. That's it. It
Hmm.
it doesn't define who I am. It's just what I have. And so every day after
Hmm.
that, what I did was I stepped out of my comfort zone and did something that I thought I would never do. And there were times it was
Hmm.
successful. Woohoo! And there were other times where
Hmm.
I fell on my face, but I learned from every single failure. So I love
Hmm.
that as we speech therapy, the programs, the therapists, that they are taking on everything that comes with having a
Hmm.
stutter. I think that is just awesome. That's just awesome. I mean, I'm proud. I'm just awesome. And you hit it home talking about community, Kelly, community. I did not
Mm,
meet another person who stuttered until I was in my 20s. I thought I was the only one. I thought
mm,
Pedro was the only one in South Texas that had a stutter
mm,
until I met that other person. And I mean, it was just, I knew instantly because I had my hand out. He had his hand out. I couldn't say my name. He couldn't say his name. But I looked in his eyes, Kelly. I said, I mean, I knew everything that he was
yes.
going through. And then
Mhm.
all that I could utter was, I know. Ooh, Kelly, you talk about,
Yes. It's so
oh,
cathartic
yes.
to have that moment spontaneously happen. You know,
Yes.
you
You are
know.
like me. How you doing?
Mhm.
I mean, it was,
You don't
woo,
gotta worry about that.
this Pedro, I know everything that you were going through,
Mm,
believe me. But I mean, it was awesome to just find another person like me who's out there because I
mhm,
thought, I mean, I was on this path all by myself, Kelly, in the darkness, all by myself. But I know now that there are others like us out there. And we're
mhm.
amazing, Kelly. We are amazing.
Yes.
We're all over the world.
Mhm,
We are 1% of the world's population. 1%. And let me tell you, that 1%, we are amazing. We are creative. Ooh, we are courageous, Kelly. We are
yes.
resilient. And we are resourceful because it's called survival, Kelly. It's called survival.
Yes.
But I mean, woo,
Exactly.
I love how you were talking about how they're handling it holistically and being in a community because I mean, it helps all of us. It benefits all of
Mhm.
us. So I mean, now, ooh, Kelly, ooh, I am enjoying our talk, Kelly. Ooh, let me tell you, I have notes here because your hashtag awesome.
Thank you. And I can relate to every single part of what you said. For when I found community, like I just realized just how powerful we are, and just just how just how resilient we are. Because there are people who tend to try to invalidate us and say that what we have is not real, and that we just have to work hard enough to get rid of it. And and put so much of healing from those people who don't believe us, or who think that how we just need to do something to get rid of it, like stuff like that that makes us stronger. And especially for people especially for people who have not met other people who stutter, that is very isolating, very rough. But at least I had my mom who did have a stutter, but but I wanted to say how you're like how you're so inspiring for going through that, and to just to had the bravery to go through those hard times, and to finally like have someone who did relate to you, and then starting a podcast about it. That to me is incredible. Yeah.
Ooh, Kelly, I thank you for those kind words. I thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I want to talk about some ADLs. These are activities
Yeah.
of daily a living. So I want to ask you, how do you handle the phone? How do you handle
Mm,
drive-throughs? And how do you handle
mm.
ordering at a restaurant? Talk to Pedro. Talk to Pedro.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Um. Okay. The phone. Um. So the phone was a very hard thing for me, especially when I was younger, because I didn't think that like I was even capable of even talking to someone on the phone. But I always had my dad do it for me, because like he was the only like fluent person in the household, um, and um, my dad was the only one who like did the ordering and stuff like that. So like I just did it, like I just told him, hey, can you like do this for me? And there came a point where like he just like got fed up with it, and then he was like, no, just do it yourself. Do it yourself. And I was like, I don't want to do it by myself, because I don't want to like put myself through that. Um, and it was really hard because like I have had times where people like not not for specifically like ordering takeout, but for trying to set up appointments on the phone. Like there were people who kept saying like, or you're cutting off, or saying things like, just say it, or like or saying, what do you want, like spit it out. And those things were pretty traumatizing. It really made me think that like I wasn't able to be an adult, and to allow to not have someone who is fluent do things for me. Um, um, yeah, so all I can say is that like it's been very difficult. For the beginning, but like as I gotten through college, through life, I've tried my best to figure out certain strategies of being able to go on the phone. Um, when I try to make a phone call, I try to mentally prepare myself first, and I try to like calm down, and then and try to like to try and take a deep breath, and trying my best to say what I have to say, and not and to not like internally freak out when I can't, because that's when it gets bad. When you start to say like, when you start to say to yourself, I'm just like, oh my god, I need to say, I need to say it, and you can't say it because you're forcing yourself even more. So it's like a vicious loop, and but so quick, and the other person has no idea. So 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 for me, the main factor of getting better is just practice and time. There's no way around it. The best things to do for like communicating with people is just trying to believe in yourself, patience, having patience with yourself, and sometimes having patience for other people too. Because I'll say having a stutter means to have patience with other people as well, who don't understand or who don't know what stuttering is as a condition. Um, so trying to build empathy. Same thing with drive through. Same thing with trying to have these like quick interactions. Having patience and like having empathy is key to a person who stutters, and you'd be hard pressed to find a person who stutters who doesn't have patience or empathy. So that's what I really love about us specifically. um, and what was the other option or the other thing that you said about the last thing?
Um, it was I'm ordering at a restaurant.
Ordering at a restaurant,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, same thing with ordering. For me, because it's a little bit harder since it is like face to face. Um, so that adds like an element of like stress and anxiety for me specifically. Um, there was one time where I came out the hospital. So something happened, but I got out, and I wanted to have dinner with I wanted to have dinner with my friend at the time. So so I went, and the waiter, she asked me if I wanted anything, or if I wanted like a refill or something, or she was talking about like um almost like anything special that they had off the menu. And I tried to say something, but then she chuckled and like covered her mouth. She was like she was laughing, and she was like this, right? I was like, "What? What's so funny?" And she was like, "Oh, nothing." And so because when I knew that like these things are are going to continue to happen, like they happen when you least expect them. Like even if you even if even if we have improved almost like a lot whether speech, or if we're having almost like a good speech day, one slip up that the stranger sees, it'll be what they like they see, and it's like interpreting your character from. So that so advice what I so the kind of advice that I have for that is patience, patience, empathy, and time. That's all I have.
I mean, you just hit it right on the nose. One, two, three, exactly. Because I mean, every situation is just okay. It's like okay, so I have to talk on the phone, and so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'll breathe, and then if I mess up, oh well, I'm going to mess up, but I'm still going to do it. I may do it horribly,
Mhm.
but guess what? I'm still going to do it. Because I mean, Kelly, I don't have to tell you, Kelly, but I've had people tell me before they hang up, learn how to talk and then click. And it's like, okay, just gonna breathe, and then I'm
Mhm.
going to move on. Because the old Pedro, Kelly, the old Pedro, I still remember what people told me when I was 5 years old. I don't know how, but at like 2 a.m., it pops in my head. At 3 a.m., I mean, I mean, you know, how do the, you know, kids talk about it, how it lives rent free in my head? It
Mhm.
just won't
Mhm.
go away, Kelly.
Referee.
Kelly, it won't go away, girl. But it's like, okay, so I just
Mhm.
have to move on and just, you know, because I cannot think about what happened to me in 1975. No, I'm busy. I got things to do, Kelly. But yeah, yeah, it's all good.
Mhm.
So, okay, so I want to talk about what happened in March of 2020. So, the whole world shut down because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, on that date, were you in college, or you know, or did you have a job on in you know on that date?
Yeah. So I was actually in high school during that time. But I was in my senior year of high school, and I was about to graduate. So, yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. Okay, um, did your school cancel and had you do everything from home via a headset and a webcam.
Yes, we had virtual school. We had to sign on to our laptops and go to class. For our school district, they actually passed a policy where like the teachers can't lower our grades from what we already had. So for me, but I had no way of like failing anything. If I didn't go to class, if I didn't have to go to class, I didn't. I didn't go to class because I didn't need to because I was already done basically. Because as I was a good student, I had all A's and a B, and I was like, there's no point to working on like these other classes that don't have required stuff from me than the classes that have B's in. I worked on that instead. Um, so working from a headset and like lack in front of a computer was both good and bad because I was very sleep deprived, and I I had to wake up at 5:30 every morning to go to school, and having school at home was like a godsend. Like I was able to recover my sleep. I was able to do my research project because I did have a senior capstone project to work on. So like I worked on that because I was able um, to have more free time essentially. It was very fun, but like it was also very sad for me because I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to graduation, and those are still things that like really like made me feel like I've missed out. But I'm able to recover from that like a little bit. So hopefully in my senior year of college. So I'm excited. Hopefully it'll happen. Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
so,
Yeah.
so I want to ask you this. Um, all
Mhm.
pre-COVID, they had us in the schools. They had me in the office. Everything was great. I was talking to humans, and then here comes COVID, and then they hand you a webcam, and they handed you a headset. And so I know that you were talking about the good and the bad. Did you ever have to do like a presentation, virtually? And so,
Mhm.
so how did how did you handle that?
Yeah, so I've had some presentations in just like in my senior year of high school, but also like in college as well. Like I've spent the second semester of my senior year of high school virtually, and then the whole the whole first year of college virtually as well. And so through that time, like I've had like plenty of presentations. I've had to present on my final project like to the lab that I worked at like at the time, but I've had to present um, some some assignments for my foreign language class. I had to record myself, and plus I had to do like this oral test, so I did that as well. Um, and I also just did some group projects like in which I didn't want to like speak to people, but I had to. But I tried to give myself like the shortest segments just because of my stutter. But we'll talk about that later if you want. But yeah. Mhm.
Ooh, Kelly, I don't have to tell you, it pushed us, people who have a stutter, out of our comfort
Mhm.
zone. Because I was good with talking to
Yes.
people and, hey, how you doing? Hey, good morning. I had my helper words and my bumper words to help me get over a block. And now it's
Mhm.
COVID and
Mhm.
whoosh. And so I had to tell everybody, because I had to present. I said, it is not your internet connection. it's it's not it's not your Wi-Fi. It's just Pedro. I
Yes.
got a block. I may repeat. My eyes may close. It's just me. It is not your internet connection. Just, for
Hmm.
number one. So I had to I kid you not, Kelly. Every day I educated. Every time I had to present, I made a disclosure statement. Hey, good morning. I'm
Hmm.
Pedro Pena. I'll be your trainer for today. I have a stutter, a speech impediment. So if I get hung up on any words, give me 8 hours. Hopefully it will come out. And when I see on their webcams they have a laugh or smirk, I say it's all good. It's all good. I got them. I got it out
Yeah.
there first, Kelly. I got it out there first. So after
Hmm.
I got it out there,
Hmm.
now I can do what I have to do. And so, but I don't have to tell you, Kelly. I've had my rough days and I've had my easy days. But yeah, it 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 has a completely pushed us out of our you know our comfort zones. However, that's a good thing. That is a good thing because now look what I've done. Look what I have accomplished. Ooh, it's awesome. Hashtag awesome.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, I want to talk about college because you are now in college, right? All right. So I've
Yes.
had 6 years of college. I have my AA. I have my BS. I also have a master's in IO psychology. So I know what you are going to be going through, Kelly. So I want to
Hmm.
ask you this all important question: group projects, presentations. Tell Pedro, how do you navigate those? Because it's a little tricky.
Right. Yes. So the way that I navigate those situations is that I kind of wing it. I've usually winged it, because like for the majority of my life, I didn't have those tools. I didn't have like ways of coping with it. Like I just did it. Like I was actually so like introduced to self disclosure and stuff like that in college. In college, I was um like more so using that more in college when I do so almost like group projects and stuff like that now. So like first I do almost like a self disclosure. I tell them, hey, like I have a stutter, please uh um please keep that in mind when we like talk and stuff like that, and that's that, right? And it makes it so much easier. It makes it so much easier because you don't have to pretend. You don't have to be like you don't have to mask it because like other people who stutter do mask their stutter with varying degrees of success, right? Like it works, it may not work. I've tried it. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, and when it didn't, it was pretty bad. So now, but I always try to tell people first. Secondly, but I try to know my strengths and to know my weaknesses, because like with every person, like even a person who doesn't stutter, we all have like strengths and weaknesses. So if I know that I want to do this thing, but I don't think realistically that I can't do it, I tell the other person to do it because in a perfect world, we would be able to do everything that you want and to give our all for a group presentation. But but group presentations are just that, group presentations, right? They're not like keynotes. They're not like talking to the president. It's just a group project, right? So trying to weigh out like what will realistically work and what will not realistically work, and trying to work with that, and trying to work with yourself first and foremost. So that's what I've been trying to do for my group projects recently. And but finally, just like tell your professor or tell the person who you're giving the presentation to, like in case they don't know that you have a stutter, and to give yourself the opportunity to have a time extension, like if it's time to like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Try to tell them, hey, can I have like a 1 minute, 2 minute extension in case like I have trouble with something. It's okay to be accommodated for. In fact, it's part of the law to the code of conduct to be to have those accommodations like available for you if your teacher doesn't want to accommodate for you. There's always a way. There's always a way to give the presentation. No matter if it takes like 5 minutes or 20 minutes, it'll come out and it'll be fine. Yeah, so that's what I have.
Ooh, Kelly, you are hashtag awesome because woo, what I did, because it's called survival. What I did, Kelly, when I
Yes.
was in, undergraduate and graduate school, when we had to do group projects, and they would have us in our groups, because I tell everybody we are resourceful, and so I said, look, I said I'll do everything. I'll do the PowerPoint. I'll do the Word. I'll do everything. All y'all gotta do is just talk. I will have everything ready. All y'all gotta do is show up and read from the screen. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how
Yep.
I handled it. Because I could not say. Nothing would come out, Kelly. Nothing. So I knew what I could do at that time, and so I knew I have these other skills that, believe me, I honed and I improved, and so that way, if we had to do a group, a project, I had already had it in my head. I will do everything. All y'all have to do is talk, because I have to graduate. I have to have the AB honor roll. I have to graduate. And so that is what I did. How we handle things, we are resourceful because it has to be done. It has to be done. So yeah. Ooh. All right. So let's talk about jobs. Um, I know that you are in school. Had you entered the job market, and then if you had, how was it with having a stutter?
Yes. So recently, I got my first internship, um, and it's like like an hourly pay salary job. But I work in tissue research, um, and um, like previously, but I've been working in labs at Penn where I study, and I usually did pretty well with environments because like it's very informal. Like there was no like like wear dress codes to like go into the lab, but like it wasn't like formal or like business stuff like that. Because it was very casual like environment for me. But to work in a company, because it was a little bit different. Just for me being I'm being in like the job market for the first time, like in corporate life. The first day, like I didn't know what the dress code was, and I usually just like dress how I like funky patterns, like stuff that stuff that makes me feel good. But like when I showed up, like everyone was in business casual, and I was really embarrassed. But it didn't have to be about my stutter specifically. But I was just like, as part of like adapting to something new. Um, but with my stutter specifically, people were like really nice about it. People were very accepting. I just had to tell them that like, oh hey, like I have a stutter and I just need some time to say something, and they're like okay, and they just treat it as if it was normal, and that's actually the best case scenario for me because usually people will get a little bit weirded out, but it seems to be like pretty good in terms of like the employees. With the fellow interns though, since I just started, since I started on June 5th, I didn't have like a lot of time to like talk to the interns really. But I know that so far has been really hard to be able to like talk to the interns that are like my age, and so that's been like I'm so pretty difficult so far. I think they know that I have a stutter because I said that like as part of my fun facts for the orientation. Like I was like, oh, but I have a stutter and I do like starting advocacy types of things, so they know, right? But I don't know if they're like interested in like talking to me really. So just trying to navigate that and trying to make myself as like as personable as possible, but like also like acknowledging that like trying to acknowledge that like I don't have to be people's friends. I don't have to be best friends with everyone that I work with, and trying to just like keep it natural. Like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
How cool. Love how you had people who 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 were understanding and compassionate and care and I mean and just professional. I mean,
Yeah,
let's just call it out. Being professional, having a code of ethics, having integrity. I mean, that is just awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
Okay, now I want to talk about secondaries. Some people call it a
mm,
crutch. Some some
mm,
people, call it a helpful tip, helpful technique. I have a toolbox, Kelly. It has all, I mean, I have learned, Kelly, in my, let me see, I've been on this earth for 52 years. So I have accumulated a lot of tools to put in my toolbox to help if Pedro has a block, a repetition, or whatever the world wants to throw at me. I can reach into my toolbox and have it addressed. So let me ask you, Kelly,
mm.
do you use secondaries to help you get out of a block, out of a repetition, or just to help you out in general?
Yes, I do. I actually learned one recently that really helped. Because like it wasn't from like a speech pathologist, but it was like from another like fellow person who stutters, and he told me to like try to move my hand more rhythmically, like trying to do this. And it actually helped. It actually helped. I was so surprised because I used it in like a conversation one time. I was like, what the heck, I'll just do it, and it helped. It actually worked. So I do that. So I'm trying to do it more now, because it's like a godsend to me, and I can't wait to learn more and to see if you have like any like other helpful things, because I'm like really happy that like I found something that like did work for me. But like in terms of like other like secondary behaviors that I just do normally, like the blinking of the eyes and like but also I'm just like bounce my legs sometimes. But I like try to move my head sometimes to like try to get it out. like I find that like sometimes secondaries are like a way for someone to are like a way for someone to get over like a block or repetition, but sometimes they are just like things that the body does when they're having a difficulty and they can't get something out, and it's just like a it's a instinctual response, right? Um, so, like it's sometimes like in my experience, they tend to like hurt. So like it tends to be very exhausting to like have your eyes closed like a lot, like when like very tightly, and it makes me feel exhausted when I do that. Tension in the muscles, like that's exhausting. Trying to like flap your like hands or like if you put it causes a lot of tension like in the body, and it like it hurts to do that. So trying to find things that help are really good. Yeah.
Ooh, Kelly, I have to tell you, there is a recorded artist from my era. Her name is Gloria Estefan, and
Oh
she
yeah.
said the rhythm's gonna get you. It got Pedro. I do. I do whatever I can to help get the block out. I do everything
Mhm.
rhythmically. You, I mean, I tap. I do everything and anything because I want to get it out. And I will get it out. I will get it out. But I have a bunch, so many of t- tools, techniques. I may use accents, which I have done. You know what? It's quite lovely. I can do an accent, and it just comes out, Kelly. It just comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't know why. I want to apologize for everyone in the UK.
Oh my god.
That was quite terrible. But I do whatever I can do to get everything out. So yeah, they help Pedro, and uh, I could only speak for me, and they help me out tremendously. So yeah.
Yeah, there's actually some like theories behind that as well, like for accents. There are actually some kinds of like speech therapy for teens who stutter to like to do like shows like theater. It helps them to like transform to like a different person, and to not be limited by like what they know they can do, and to like transform to someone else. I think it just like does something psychologically that like just like helps them. And same thing with like the tapping rhythmically, like when we sing, we don't stutter because there's a rhythm to the song, right? So that like that so that kind of hacks the brain to like to treat it as more of a song than like just a sentence.
Ooh,
Yeah.
let me tell you, Kelly. Ooh, you are hitting some really. I am taking notes, Kelly. You are teaching Pedro. You are
Wow.
talking to Pedro. You are dropping the golden nuggets. And so I want to tell you, I am a voice actor, and I cannot explain it. But when I have a script in my hand, and I'm in my studio, and it's just me and the script. I go over it. I do my analysis of the script. I hit record. I am not Pedro. I am the character
Mhm.
in that script. Everything comes out. I don't know how to explain it, but in high school, I was a drama kid because the only group in high school who had accepted me were the drama kids, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they told me that I could do anything. And let me tell you, Kelly, if you have people around you who are positive and who support you and lift you up, ooh, Kelly, you can do anything in this world. And so I was in a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of plays. I did a debate. Not good, Kelly, but I did debate. I lost a lot of points, girl. But anyway, so I did the prose, the poetry, and the debate and plays. And I mean, it was just awesome. So, however, when I do a cold read, horrible. I stumble, I block, I repeat. However, when I am in that mode, a switch in my head, I don't know why, but it goes off in my head and I'm in actor mode and I hit record and it just comes out. I mean, it's a head scratcher. It's a head scratcher. But yeah, I mean, I love to act. I mean, it is just awesome. It's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like, that was I was a band kid. Like I use almost like intro uh, uh, um, uh, um, uh, um, like things like the saxophone, violin. Like I played violin since like fourth grade, and then like a saxophone when I started in like high school, and so now I'm in the Penn band, and like the environment around the people who do the art specifically are just like super I'm super accepting, super I'm super positive, and but they really they really try to endorse creativity in like and like all types of people. So I completely agree.
I mean, it is just awesome. It's like, look, I found my tribe. I found my tribe. It's
Yeah.
woo,
Mm,
it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
yeah.
Okay, now, so I want to talk about, do you go through phases in your speech? As in, let's say on Monday everything comes out. On Tuesday nothing comes out.
Mm.
On Wednesday everything comes out. Do you go through that with your speech?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are many, many times where I would just like speak fluently and I would be like, "Oh, I like this. I can like speak and not have it be physically painful to me." But then there are other times where I cannot like get out of a sentence without a block, without a really stubborn block or a repetition. Um, for me, like I definitely can say that this like this like phases type of thing can last like for a few weeks or a few months at a time. But I can go through like a couple months where so my stutter is like really bad, and then like the next few months will be good, and then like a week will be really bad, stuff like that. And I don't know why. I don't know why it tends to be that way, but I think that there tends to be something something correlating to my mental health or my mental state at the time. But it's not always true, but for the majority of the time, like it tends to be very corollary with what my mental state is at the time, and my energy level, stuff like that. So that can like play a huge part in my periods where my blocks are like really bad or my speech is really bad. Um, and the way that I try to like get through it is like I was just trying to understand that like I can't really fix it myself. I have to understand that like I can't just like say like, oh I'm gonna just take this pill and like it'll go away. Like I have to get through it myself, and there's no way out of it. And I'm trying to accept that has been a very hard pill to swallow. It's been really difficult to accept that, but that's just part of being a person who stutters. Is just part of my life. Um, but also trying to take care of myself in those times where my speech has been really bad, and that like is a reflection of my mental health. My the way that I think of it is that the way that I think of it is that is that my own mental health can affect my stutter, and my stutter can affect my own mental health. So trying to take care, I'm trying to take care, trying to take care of my own mental health, my own peace, can help with the stutter, and that's just kind of how I go through it.
Oh yes, because I don't have to tell you, Kelly. Where I had a couple of weeks where everything came out. I was like, ooh, I don't know what it is. Everything was coming out, and then I had a woman who walked up to me and and you know she knows me, for my job, and she's like, uh, you don't have a stutter. Are you doing it for attention?
Mm,
And it kind of took me aback. It's like, I have no control over this. I have zero
mm-hmm.
control. Had I have control, it'd be a whole other podcast. I have no
Yes.
control over what comes out. What you hear
Mm-hmm.
is what you hear. I do my deep, you know, my breathing. I do my mindful meditation. I look out for my mental health because it is super important. But I mean, you're hearing whatever you are hearing. I have no control. It just happens. It's random. It's random. So it's like, no, I don't do this for attention. Who would do it for attention? It's pain. I don't have to tell you, Kelly. It's painful.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It
painful.
is.
I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I wouldn't, because it it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
So no, I don't do it for attention. No, ma'am. And next.
Exactly.
Next, please.
Because people who say that, absolutely
It's like,
not.
no, I'm sorry. Next, please. All right. So here is
Mhm,
a hot topic question. We have
mhm,
have we have like two of them, but here is a hot topic question. I ask everybody
mhm,
on my podcast. All of the answers are split right down the middle. So I want to ask you, Kelly. Here we go.
mhm.
Do you let others help you finish your sentences? Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I can see that this is a very controversial question. Um, so what I know in the stuttering community is that it is split in the middle. But I but but personally, like I'm the like I'm a almost like I'm like of the school of thought of like that things are not like black and white. Like it's always like there's always a a exception For me, like as I've grown like older and I've been more so more confident or trying to be more confident, like in my startup, I'm still young and I still have a lot to learn. Um, and for me to be like an academic field, to be in the sciences and to be a feminine presenting person, there are a lot of things against me, and plus my stutter. I have I have a stutter, and stuff like that can be used against me to silence my voice and to silence what I have to say, because like what I say and so how I say it is important, and like and firstly because I have to believe that for like for others to believe it too. So for the most part, like when I try to present, or like if I try to like talk to a professional, like talk to a professor or talk to some kind of professional in the field, but I try to finish my own sentences because what I have to say is important and valuable. But like if I try to like talk to a friend, or if I try to talk to a family member and they see that I'm struggling, sometimes that like they will ask me, do you mean this, or do you mean that, or do you need this? And I'm like, yes. And like sometimes that is helpful because I can like save my breath, quite literally save my breath, because like it was really hard for me to speak when I have blocks. So for me, for me, it really depends on like the scenario and who I'm talking to. For example, like if I'm talking to a professor and I want to ask them a question and they finish my sentence for me, I don't typically appreciate that, but sometimes I'm just like, okay, whatever. I mean, like it's just one question, right? Um, but for me, like I don't typically appreciate that. One time, I actually had that happen to me with a professor, and later on, he apologized to me through email. He was like, "Hey, Kelly, like I realized that like I finished your sentence this time, and like I wanted to say I'm sorry." Stuff like that is like very like wow, like I feel heard and I feel seen, and I really appreciate that. And I feel like people who don't stutter don't know what that feels like for the most part. And it's very helped me feel like helped me feel like um um but it helps me feel like there is space for improvement and space to put faith in people, because I tend to have a hard time with that myself. So that's been a very positive thing that happened to me. But there are plenty of other times where people just don't think about that, right? Especially as a kid. When I was a kid, like teachers would do that all the time, all the time. And I didn't think about it until I got older, and I thought that like I needed to have my own voice, and that's where I stepped in and I was like, no, I don't want you to finish my sentences. So I was like, yeah, it really depends. Whatever feels more powerful um like empowering for you, do it. For me, it really depends.
So here is a piggyback on that. Have you ever been
Mhm.
asked, did you forget your name if you have a long block? Dun dun
That
dun.
actually happened to me one time. That actually happened to me because because like okay, so like in freshman year we had like weekly COVID tests for the students, right? So we all had to schedule our tests, and we had to go into the tents and just like do the tests, and it was pretty quick, but I had to do that like every week or every other week to keep track of who has COVID and who doesn't. And one time, like I didn't have time to do it during the day, so I had to do it so very early in the morning, and like in the so very early. So me, who doesn't like to wake up early in the morning, I feel really groggy. I feel slow. I just feel bad, right? Yeah, right. So so for me, but I had no choice. I had to go in, and I tried to say my name, and the lady was like, "Oh, you didn't forget your name, did you? Like not that early in the morning." And I was like, "I have a stutter," and she was like, "Oh." That's all she said. She said, "Oh," and she was very embarrassed. She was very like, "Oh my god, I messed up," but I did not appreciate that. Obviously, I didn't like how she just kind of assumed that like I forgot my name. I don't know who forgets their name, but that was a very unwelcome comment, and I'm pretty sure like a lot of people who started can relate to that.
If I had a quarter, Kelly, I would have a house in Bali, Greece, Australia,
That's a lot of money.
Norway, France.
Mm-hmm.
Bonjour. So here's the old Pedro. I would get upset. I mean, who forgets their name? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
no. So the new Pedro, the calm, the more wiser, who
Mm-hmm.
who does yoga and meditation. I now
Mm-hmm.
educate. This is what I have. This is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to hear.
Yeah.
And so that way, for the
Yep.
next time you encounter a person like Pedro, a person like Kelly, you are going to be more equipped to help out that person. Because if you know better, you do better. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
education and raising awareness. And let me tell you, I have done that so many times, Kelly, but it's all good because I still run into people who don't know what a stutter is. All they know is what they see on and hear on TV, like a Porky Pig, or Mel
Mm-hmm.
Tillis. I mean, y- the stereotypical. And so it's like, no, I'm here to educate because we are out here, we are taking up space, we we matter, we matter. And so yeah, so I just educate, educate, educate. And I mean, woo, I don't have to tell you it's exhausting, but at the end of the day, it's I mean, it is worth it because that person from here on out, they will be more patient and compassionate and empathetic. So yeah, it's all good.
Right.
It's all good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So have you ever had negative self-talk? And if you did, how do you cope with it?
Yes, negative self-talk has been a regular part of my life. More so after I started feeling very self-conscious, was around sixth grade. Um, I um, I feel like the negative self-talk first came around when I thought that like I was getting better with it, and that like I would be getting rid of it soon. Like, and so it referring to my stutter. Like I would be getting rid of my stutter, and like I'll be okay. Like things are getting better. But then like 20 years, 21 years later, I'm still here. I still stutter. Right. So that so so when you ask me about like the speech pathologists and like friends and family of people who stutter, what do I like what do I say to them? The one of the things that I said was to be okay with it being a temporary thing or being a permanent thing, and that is something I, that I hold to very dearly because that was what made me feel self-conscious about it. When I when I was in school, I got called out by a substitute teacher who came by to our school pretty regularly. He was very nice and stuff like that, and like he called me out like in the middle of class and saying like, "Oh, Kelly, like Kelly is doing better with their stutter. Like say something for me." But I was like very just like put on the spot, and I just said a simple sentence. And he was like, look at this, and I will never forget that. I will never forget that
Oh my goodness.
because yeah. So like at the time, like I thought like, oh my god, like I'm special, I'm getting better, but it was a very weird way to call me out, and like it did harm me down down the line. Um, and so growing up in like like an immigrant household, a lot of people, almost like my mom, people, people like my mom or my dad, people who people who were extended family members of mine would say like, oh, like one day you'll be better because you just have to pray more, you just have to believe more, you have to go to go to church every day, and you'll be saved, all this other stuff, right? And there are people who do genuinely believe that they go to church enough and if they pray enough that they'll get better at whatever it is that they have, and that may or may not happen. Then in the case of in the case of having a stutter, being 21 years old, past the point of what start like past the point past the point of the age of when stuttering is supposed to like fall off, I just had to accept it, and no matter like what I do, I will be stuck with it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like so for me to process that talk of negativity of like you should have gotten over this a long time ago. It's your fault. Like it's your fault that like people don't like you. You'll never have chances of getting a job. Like people people will hire you just because you went to the school, or you got these grades, or you like add to their diversity profile, stuff like that. Not because I actually am like a full person with a stutter that just happens to stutter, right? Um, that 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 has led me down a very dark path. That among many other things has led me to feeling the entire spectrum, anxiety, depression, stuff like that. And I was very in need of help. And now that like I'm like so now that now that like I'm processing things, and like I'm going to therapy, stuff like that, like a lot of that self-talk has to be challenged in some way. Like it has to be challenged, and with like counter examples. So what what examples do I have that don't prove this to be true, that show that this is false? And I have plenty of examples for trying to say that is not true. Maybe put examples of it like there may be examples of my stutter leading to like people making fun of me, people thinking that I'm not smart, people thinking that I'm not capable, but those are not the majority, and that is not what I should base my character on, because like I know me best. And I'm ultimately challenging that, and like talking to people who care about me genuinely. People like my mom, my partner, my cat, even, like they all are very supportive of me. My family is also very supportive of me. Kind of besides the like the other stuff that they used to tell me when I was a kid. They have grown to be very supportive of my stutter and my journey. So that's how I kind of deal with that.
Ooh, Kelly, you were talking about culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pedro Pena. So I was told to go to church and to pray, and then I was also told, um, you know, to go and try some voodoo. So ooh, Kelly, you know me. I was in my 20s. I said I need to get rid of this because I got to get a job, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I have a lot that I have to do, and so this
Mm-hmm.
is will hold me down. So I was told to go do voodoo. So I found a woman in South Texas, and she said for $40. If you come in, I can cure your stutter. Ooh, Kelly, that was a great day. I walked in all happy and cheerful. And so she told me to have a seat. She held a rooster's claw over my head. And then she went and got a glass of water. And she talked and she had me turn around and da 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 da. And then she goes to grab an egg and tells me, I'm going to crack this egg in this glass of water. If if the if the yolk holds, you're cured. If it is all broken, then I'm sorry. So here I am praying. Let that yolk hold, Kelly. Let it hold.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so
Mm-hmm.
then she cracked the egg and it held. And I said, oh, I'm cured. I'm cured. I gave her the money. I walked out. I said, okay, I'm hungry. So I want a hamburger. So, here in Texas, we have Whataburger. So I went to Whataburger to, go and get me a hamburger. I thought, I got this. I am cured. Hallelujah. Everything is going to be great. So I walk up into the counter and they ask, what do I want? And guess what happened? Yeah, I wasn't cured, Kelly. Let me
Yeah.
just keep it real. I stuttered on everything, and that helper, I mean, she felt so sorry for me. She said, here is a hamburger on the house.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I had tried everything because I also had experienced the negative self-talk. He was in my head for 35 years. Um, at the end of that, a time period, I gave him a name. So I called him Oscar the Grouch. So every time he
Mm-hmm.
would pop up, and let me tell you, Kelly, he popped up on the daily. He'd be like, you can't answer that phone. Just don't do it. You, you know, you cannot give that a presentation, so don't even think about it. I mean, he popped up on the daily until I gave him a name. I took back the power. I said, no, I'm going to do this. And when I did it, look what I did. So I did what you had talked about. I countered it with a positive experience, and it shut him down. And I mean, it works every single time. When he pops up, Kelly, I shut him down. No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then after I do it, look what I did. Look what I did. Look, I mean, I did a huge thing that I thought that I could not do because of my stutter. But
Mm-hmm.
look what I did. I did it extremely well. I am proud of Pedro. Let's move on. So yeah, I mean, and he still pops up, Kelly. I'm 52, Kelly. He still pops up,
Mm-hmm.
but I shut him down because I'm in control now. Pedro is in control because I know I'm awesome.
Exactly.
I know I'm awesome. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about this because it is super important. If you have a win, speech wise, do you um, celebrate it?
So like if I have a win speech wise, do I celebrate it?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Um, I try to, but I try to give myself the credit that like that I should, because for me those don't happen often. But sometimes I'm gonna kind of fall into the mindset of like if I celebrate it too soon, like it's gonna come back again, like it won't be worth it, right? Like it's not worth it to acknowledge it. And I've kind of tried to get over that. Like I've tried to like talk to myself and be like, okay, something good happens. The fact that like something bad happens afterwards doesn't make that good thing bad. Like those truths can exist, and trying to move away from like the black and white mindset of what I like told you about earlier, like trying to trying to make that like into a more common practice in my life. Like that has helped me tremendously in celebrating myself and trying to celebrate trying to celebrate those that I love. That's that's what helped me. Yeah.
I mean, I tell everybody if you have a win, celebrate it. Look what I did. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it is a wonderful. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Kelly. It is a wonderful feeling. It's like, look what I did. I was on stage.
Yeah.
I spoke to 100 people, and then afterwards, they all applauded. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
look what I did. Oh, I have goosebumps. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So here is a head scratcher. Okay, Kelly, here's a head scratcher. So I ask everybody on my podcast, and I mean, it's split right down the middle. I respect everyone's answers. So I want to ask you this. So when you are
Mm-hmm.
alone, can you speak without stuttering?
Hmm. Huh. That's it's a very thought provoking question for sure. Um, I think that since I don't talk to myself a lot, I don't know if I have a good gauge, but I feel like I stutter less, but I still do. I definitely still do stutter when I talk to myself. Like I know that my stutter is not like from talking to other people, or the anxiety of talking like or the anxiety of talking to other people because I stutter when I talk to myself. So that's kind of a way that I know where my anxiety comes from, or like it's like where my stutter comes from. Like it just comes from me on a genetic basis, but sometimes people can have it from like people can people can have it a lot more if they have like social anxiety, stuff like that. Um, for me, for me, I don't. For me, for me, I find that like I still do stutter when I'm by myself. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I mean, when I'm home alone, when I have my dog with me, Miss Ruby Jean, I mean, I still
Mm-hmm.
block. I still repeat when I go over in my head my calendar and then talk out loud. I still block. I still repeat. So you know, it's a head scratcher. It's a head scratcher. But you know, I'm just curious. All right.
Yeah,
So here's a big one. Woo. Okay, I gotta hold up this. All right, here we go.
I'm
So,
ready.
how do you feel about the representation of people who stutter in the media? Oh, dun, dun,
That's a
dun,
big one, right?
dun.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna start by saying that, like, obviously, there are not a lot of examples of like people who stutter like in the media, and if there are, they're portrayed very like very caricature like it's a caricature starting is designed to be a character flaw, or just like something to be like a comedic relief, like Porky Pig starters, but like uh, but it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be like, oh, he's a silly pig who stutters, um, and I've been called that. Like in school, I've been called that Porky Pig, and yeah, like generally, it's very caricature like, and it's not accurate. Like even if it's there at all, right? But there are like some pieces of media, like the King's Speech, that that had like portray like an experience of like a person who's like in a very high position who stutters and like has a very severe stutter, and the actor who acted in it, but I think he did a really good job. I think he did a good job with portraying stuttering as just like a thing that people deal with and not something to be made fun of. He actually does it really well. He's not a person who stutters, but like for a person who doesn't stutter, he did it really well. Um, and I really appreciated that. For the longest time, because I did avoid pieces of media of people who stutter because I didn't like seeing people who stutter on like in media. But it was just a thing where like I needed to process my own self hate for being a person who stutters, and my own my own my own uncomfortability with stuttering. And when I attended my first support group, I was just like inspired to watch it. But that was when I saw my first piece of media of seeing a person who stutters, and it was portrayed really well. Um, for me, I also think that that the voices of people who stutter are very limited. They're very limited in the media to white men who stutter. That's what I've just seen. Like I've just seen white men who stutter, and I haven't really met a person who, like a person of color who started until I got like into my junior year of college. Um, so when I started my support group, I was like, not including my mom, right? So 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 part of my so part of my like my wish and my part of my goal um to build community to be an advocate is to find people of color who stutter people, people of color, people who are disabled, people who are queer, put to voice those experiences as well, because there's no no real like like work like in that in that field that is really popular in mainstream, right? So that's what I wish, and what I want to work to. Um, yeah, I think that's it for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I am right there with you. We need for us to be out there. I mean, everywhere,
Hmm.
everywhere, because I mean, I mean, we are so creative. We are so creative. I mean,
Hmm.
we are amazing. Yeah, we should be out there every single aspect. I mean, yeah, I am behind you 100%. So, yeah, it's all good. So here is a deep question I ask everybody. I respect everyone's answers. So here we go. So, do you consider stuttering as a disability?
I can also see why that's a really big question. Huh. I feel like a disability is a very flexible term in the stuttering community. There are people who stutter and don't find it to be a disability because like their stutter may not be as severe, or just like a mild stutter that doesn't affect them too much. Um, so in that case, the term impediment would be mostly used because it's like it's more of an impediment instead of a disability. But for people who have like more moderate to severe stutters, like me, but identify as a person who has like a moderate stutter, um, I feel like it can be a disability for me. I feel that it has like a really big kind of impact on like how that builds my social life. I've I feel like it's had a very big impact on on my mental health. It has impacted the way that I view life and treat people around me, or should I say, like the expectations that I have surrounding life. I feel like those are silent contributors to what disability is. People think that the term disability is a person who is physically disabled and visibly disabled, a person who's in a wheelchair, a person who's in a cast, a person who is bedridden, stuff like that. Those are valid ways of being disabled, right? But having a disability has a lot of facets. Like it affects your social life, your mental health, how you treat others, how you build your expectations, stuff like that. And those are real things that people with stutters go through. So for me, I feel like if you have if you have a stutter and find that you find that you find that the word impediment works for you, then that's great. But there's people who have stutters who also identify with the word disability, and that's okay too. But I heard people say to me, like, you don't have a disability, people have real disabilities, right? The term real disability, right? So I'm trying to challenge that with saying like there's no such thing as a real disability, and you have to really think about what you consider a what you consider so as a real disability, and try to expand that to consider others who identify with the term. Um, yeah, yeah.
Uh, thank you for that. I thank you for that. So let's talk about your career path. Uh, uh, do you think your stutter might hinder your career path?
For a long time, I think it did. For the longest time, I did think that my stutter was going to impact my job opportunities. But I actually met a guy in high school who had a stutter as well, but not like a severe stutter. Because it was a mild stutter, but like he still stuttered, and I really identified with him because we both have a stutter. But he told so one day he came to class, and like we were talking about his job as a tutor for children, and he was like, oh, like the job openings at my job for children who need to learn how to read and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, but I've been like wanting to tutor. Do you think that the job would be good for me? And he was like, no, but I would think you should apply because of your stutter. Like I don't think that'll be helpful for the kids. And I really thought about that. Like I was really perplexed by that because he's also a person who stutters, but he is doing the same thing that I want to do, but he's telling me not to. And I always like have been really confused by that, and just like thinking about that, and just thinking about like the the like gatekeeping of like opportunities for people who for people who can better like assimilate to what normal like quote normalcy is. Um, so that's something that like I've been thinking about, and so recently I came to the conclusion that I came to the conclusion that I don't have to listen to that, and I can be whatever or like whoever that I want to be. And right now, like I'm actually thinking about becoming a tutor for bio, like in my college, and I'm going to be a tutor because I finally got my first A in like a major STEM class, which I'm really happy about. Because my mental health has been really bad for like for the entirety like of my college career, and that has kind of forced me to prioritize to prioritize other things other than school, right? And other there are a lot of people who can relate to that. For me, having the opportunity to excel in a class, and for me to tutor in it, to like teach other people about it, I am just really happy, and I am really excited for that opportunity. Um, and for jobs, like I'm also like not as worried about it anymore. Like I learned people that people in the real world don't really care as much as you about your stutter. Like they people who are professional, um, who are mature, people who are who are adults, like they won't put they won't put as much as much importance as because you do on your stutter, and they will still see like your personhood, and they will see what you contribute to the workplace, just just as a person. And so and that really helped me cope with me like thinking that I'm never going to find a job, and that people are not going to like me, people are not going to want to talk to me, stuff like that. And so that's what like I would recommend for people who are going into the job workforce and who have a stutter, like people are not going to pay attention to it as much as you think you do if they are actually professional and that's a work environment that is good for you.
How cool. Ooh, hold on, hold on. This is for you, Kelly. Ooh. Oh my, you are
Yeah.
just ooh. You are just hashtag amazing. Just I mean,
Thank
I don't
you.
have any words for you. You are just amazing. So, all right. So here is our last hot topic. Our last hot topic, and it's a hot one. So let's talk about the dating. As dating is hard for everybody. But if you have a stutter, it's a little bit more difficult. If you are dating, how do you uh, uh, how do you navigate dating with having a stutter?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So right now, I live with my partner, and I have a cat, and we have an apartment together, which I'm really happy about. And for me, I'm going to talk about my own experience with dating. I so, so ever since I was a kid, I thought that like I would never like find anyone to date because I had a stutter. I didn't think people would want me, especially because I was always bullied for being quote ugly and not attractive, and like I thought that like I was never going to find someone, right? So so, so like so like as I grew up, I was getting more some more attention as I grew older because I just kind of glowed up, quote unquote, like I wasn't like I wasn't a kid anymore. Um, and people started to give me compliments, like people started to give me compliments and stuff like that, and like I never experienced that before. Like in high school, people were giving me compliments, and I was like, oh, I never thought that this would ever happen, but and people started to think that my stutter was cute, right? And there's something really strange about being called cute when you have a stutter, because having a stutter is not really cute. It's not. It doesn't feel cute. But people who don't stutter find it cute, right? And it's a little bit infantilizing, right? Like stuttering is it for me when it's being called cute. Like I feel like I'm like a little kid who's starting over their words and like trying to get their words out, and that's like being called cute. Um, so I had some trouble trying to figure out what that even meant for like a person who stutters that I find their stutter cute. Never had that happen to me before until like I got older. Um, the thing with like being a feminine, a thing with being a feminine, a a feminine person who's gender who is but non-conforming, who has a stutter, who's Hispanic, who's black, right? There are a lot of pieces that come into play when people are fetishizing me. Um, especially because I'm light skinned. I have that. I have that. Uh, um, I've been called cute because I'm light skinned. Um, been called I've been called attractive for having for having like longer Afro hair, um, for having like a big nose, having like very strong features like from my eyebrows, having big lips, stuff like that, right? Um, so in terms of stuttering, like I haven't had too much like put too much to say about that, but like in terms of like being a whole person, stuttering included, that that starts to come into play more, right? So it's not just a stutter in particular. So when I started to date people, people wouldn't really people people wouldn't really understand why I stutter, but they just like found me cute and they just like was like, okay, whatever, I'll date you, right? And so guys that started to get to know me, they started to be started to be more understanding and like more tolerant of who I am and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that they also are like that does not mean that they're also they are also was exempt from bad things or like saying bad things. Um, sometimes like sometimes people would like say people would say sometimes people would say that look like that it looks like I'm buffering or they'll chuckle stuff like that, and they don't mean it like in a bad way, but it still kind of hurts. Um, the other day, my partner was saying like he hates when the open video or for the show that he's streaming when it stutters. And I was like, it's a very weird way to say that is buffering, and that like it seems to be a bit ableist to me, and trying to like try to trying to voice that and like trying to like educate people who don't stutter on like what so what my experience is and like trying to make them aware, and so most of the time like they'll understand and they'll be like, okay, like I won't say that anymore, or I won't tolerate that from anyone else anymore, stuff like that. um but generally people 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 who I date, but typically try to be their friend for like a year or two, try just to like try to like set a good foundation for them to actually know me and to know my boundaries, and then like we can get like deeper in the future. That's how like I start to like to try to lay the foundation for like a relationship that is healthy for both me and the other person.
How cool. Because I mean, what I tell everybody, um, and the heart don't care if you have a stutter. Heart don't care if you have a mohawk. The heart don't care if your hair is purple. I mean, and and you know, growing up, with having a severe stutter, because I mean, Kelly, nothing came out. I was told for a very long time that I was slow, that I was stupid, that I had a form of mental retardation, and that nobody would love me or be near me. So, after you hear that for 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, you kind of tend to believe it. However,
Mm-hmm.
when I turned the big 4-0, I said, who cares? This is who I am. I know I am awesome. I mean, it's just, I mean, I know that I'm hashtag awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And, and, I did all of those huge things, the milestones. I graduated from high school. I went into the military. I fought in the Gulf War. I got out. I went to college. I have a master's. Um, I got married, had a kid. I mean, I have the life that I've always wanted, and my stutter
Mm-hmm.
hasn't halted any of that because there is a person out there for everybody. And
Exactly.
right, exactly. And that person will love you for you. Don't care if you have a stutter, a lisp, who cares? They love you for you. And when you have that, woo, Kelly, it is
Mm-hmm.
hashtag awesome. Hashtag awesome. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we are in the home stretch. So
Mhm.
all right. So how do you feel about all of this new home technology? You have Google Home, you have Alexa, and then you have Siri. Do you think all this new um, home tech is helpful or hurtful for people who stutter?
Huh. Hmm. Interesting question. I don't personally use those things. Like I don't have Alexa, or Google Home, or Siri. I do have Siri like on my iPad, but I don't use her a lot. Um, and it's primarily because like she can't understand me. So with stuff like that for people who stutter, like it can be very difficult to use Google Home and to use those like voice recognition technologies. Um, for like for like short phrases though, like it can be better for people who stutter. Like sometimes like I'll say Siri, like set a reminder for this, or hey, set the alarm for this. Just like some like simple sentences to make it just easier to say. Um, Trying to simplify what I have to say to Siri has been like really helpful to me. Like trying to cut it down so that like I don't have to like repeat it. Like if Siri doesn't um doesn't respond or give me the right search. Um, yeah, so technologies with like that with people who stutter can be pretty tricky, but I recommend to like try and simplify what you have to say so that like it just is easier to say.
How cool. And I mean, I rarely, because I mean, they don't give you enough time, Kelly. I mean, you have to
Yeah.
respond in 1.2 seconds, and I need half an hour just to breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, so so however, I have spoken to a lot of people who have a stutter, and they tell me that they use it as a means to practice, which I think is really cool. And then also there are some universities here, and they are creating an algorithm to help people who have a stutter to use the Google Home and the Alexa and the Siri. So, um, you know,
Oh,
you know, um, um, I think that is just awesome. That is just awesome. All right.
wow. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty
That's cool.
cool. Woohoo! Go a technology. All right. So, what is a challenge speech wise that you had to overcome, and how did you do it?
Hmm. Putting me on the spot here, Pedro.
That's my
um.
job.
Yeah. So, huh. I guess there are like a variety of unique challenges that come with specific types of social interactions. And I think that, like I speak for a lot of people, when presentations and talking in groups, like group discussions, are very difficult. For me, for this past semester, I actually took two classes. But I dropped one of them. I dropped one of them, but for a time where I had those two classes, so they were both very discussion based, very discussion heavy. So like every single day, I would come in and someone's doing a presentation, someone is doing some kind of group work, some kind of discussion, stuff like that. And it was very difficult for me. Very difficult for someone who has anxiety, someone who has social anxiety, someone who's a stutter. So like all those compounding factors were very hard to deal with when I was taking those classes. And but I was like, I ended up dropping one of those classes because of the lack of the pressure and the load that was put upon me, that I felt like was uh, very pressuring. So although the course is very easy, just like a very easy A, I could not stand having to be put on the spot every day. I just couldn't do that. And but it took a while for me to be like, it's okay. I listened to myself. I listened to what my body reacted to, my gut instinct, and prioritize myself, to love myself, right, and trying to be okay with that, right. So for me, like the biggest challenges that I faced so far um, were classes, where I had to talk, and people were required to participate. Chinese classes, because I was study Chinese, and since language is tonal, it's very hard for a person who stutters to get the tone right when you're like having a block, or like a repetition. Like although the words are like one syllable for the most part, it's still really hard because it's like because sometimes it's the consonant hard sounds, and like I tend to have a hard time with those. Um, so those were really difficult too. Being popcorned in those classes was the worst because like you didn't know. And for me, studying Chinese is a little bit difficult. So, but it was really hard for me to be put on the spot and to get it wrong. So it was very hard. And also, strangely enough, like being able to talk to other people who stutter. But talking to other people who have a stutter has been really hard, like in a different way, because for me, because I've been like taught to like self hate, to hate that part of myself, and to think that like it's not, and like it's not part of like a person's kind of a person's normal experience to stutter. So having to actively unwork that has been part of my goal. Um, so yeah, those were the scenarios where like I found that like that like speech was like the hardest.
Ooh, thank you for that. That's powerful. Ooh. All right, so here's a big one because it gets everybody all riled up. But I
Mhm.
respect everyone's answers. So here we go. So do you think it's okay to stutter, or is it important to keep chasing the the uh, fu- the fluency gods?
Mm. ultimately, I think it's okay to stutter. It's okay to stutter because stuttering, uh, because everyone stutters. Everyone who who speaks has like stutters at some point in their life. It's very common in children, and sometimes like a fluent person can stutter on a word or two, and like it'll be fine, right? But the question is obviously for like a person who stutters to chase that that to chase that elusive um, goal of fluency or to keep stuttering. And I say keep stuttering. Like it's okay to stutter. It's okay to have a hard time. Um, obviously, for for a person who stutters, it's really hard to accept that because of the bullying, because of like the social stigmas around it, and because like it's physically not pleasant. And it's okay to find strategies that work for you to try and get your words out and to try and be comfortable letting yourself in your speech. But for me, to say that the object is fluency is to say that stuttering is not normal and it's not a part of the human experience, and it's something to be cured. So like it's trying to further the idea of neurotypicalness of like having people fit in like a certain box. Like it's like the same thing as like saying like should people with autism or people with these conditions which they're born in should chase to be quote unquote normal or should just keep being themselves. Keep being yourself because that's that because that because being yourself is a form of rebellion, and it's like without rebellion, without rebellion, nothing would change. So,
Awesome. I thank you for that. What has your stutter taught you?
it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot, Pedro.
Tell me, talk to Pedro.
Yes, yeah. I think that my stutter continues to teach me a lot of things. I think like I don't stop like at a certain point. Like even though I'm 21 right now, um, I still have a lot more to learn. Right now, the biggest thing that I've learned from my own experiences and from being more active in like the studying community is that that but that but that I have to to embrace it. Like I have to accept it because if I don't, then like I'll keep chasing this thing like I won't like I'll keep chasing these I'll keep chasing these very unhealthy ideals that are that 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 have been breaking me down ever since I was born. Um, I I honestly don't know how to respond to this question because it's there are a lot of things that I can say that my stutter has helped me with, but I think that that the lesson of being being brave, having a thicker skin because of my stutter and because of the things that I've been through, having being more sympathetic to people have been things that are that are invaluable to my worldview today. Sympathy, empathy, patience. Patience is key. That is why what I hold dear and what I think stuttering has taught me.
Ooh, that is awesome. That is awesome, Kelly. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Um, hmm.
Okay, so hold on, because you know what? This always hits me hard. So go
Me
on, Kelly.
too.
Go on, Kelly.
Me too. It's like it's very emotional for me
Yeah.
too, because I know how hard it was for me to be born to be born in this body, to be subject to these experiences. Like I would say that I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of my younger self, and to keep encouraging a young Kelly to hold on, because I because for the longest time, like I thought that like I wasn't going to live to my 20s. I wasn't going to have a normal life. I was never going to succeed or like do the things that I wanted to be able to make my mom proud, to make my family proud of me. Since I grew up with immigrants, like they have never been able to achieve their dreams, right? So for me to be here, for me to be talking to you, for me to find community, for me to be finishing college soon, those are really big things that I think that like I wouldn't have done if I didn't hold on, and if I didn't like truly believe in myself. So that's what I would say. I'm very proud of a younger self.
Ooh, okay. I held on, Kelly. I held on.
So I tried.
All right, here's our last question. Our last question. All right, so it's a big one. So here we go. If you had the opportunity to give insight about stuttering on the world stage, what message would you convey?
But if I was able to talk about starting to the world, and what would I say? Okay, so 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 I think that first and foremost, like I would try to say that stuttering is normal. Stuttering is not was not stuttering is not stuttering is um, not it's not indicative of someone's performance, of someone's like mental state, physical state. It's just what it is. It's just a stutter. And I feel like people tend to moralize what is normal and what is not normal, right? Like so for example, like sometimes people would say that because of a because of a stutter, like I should people will say that because I have a stutter, I have low self esteem. They will assume that I'm like dumb or like I don't know how to convey my ideas. um, or sometimes like people would like assume that but because I have a stutter, like I should like have like some kind of like heightened some kind of heightened ability some kind that should be blessed in some way, right? But it is just what it is. It's a stutter. Same thing with every other condition, um, and trying to normalize it as such. I think that if we stop like associating stuttering with mental illness or like a supernatural blessing of some kind, that then a lot of the world's problems of pretending people who stutter will be solved, because a lot of the the stuff that we experience is because of those preconceived notions. And I would like also urge people to view stuttering to urge people to try and view stuttering trying to view stuttering through a different light, because I feel that people who listen to people who stutter may feel very like uncomfortable. They they'll put more attention on the person who stutters and not what they're actually saying. So trying to for like a person who for like a person for like a person who doesn't stutter, trying to educate yourself from a person who stutters, what's okay, not okay, trying to ask what their boundaries are, like what they think is okay or not okay. Same thing with anyone who has some sort of condition. It's always good to ask if you're not sure, to not assume of what a person may or may not be offended by, or what a person is they're not comfortable with. Communication is what is really key here. Communication, funnily enough, because we have a stutter, we have trouble with communication, or so they think, right? But people who stutter are very good at communicating their needs, and they're very good at conveying what they say, because they have been forced to like cut down on what they say for their entire lives, and they're very good at discerning things like in the environment, other people, and people who don't stutter just have to exercise that same muscle that we have been forced to for our entire lives. So that's kind of what I would say.
Oh, Kelly, that is a wonderful message. That is a wonderful message. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You are hashtag awesome. You are huge inspiration. I got to tell you, Kelly, huge inspiration. And so, I mean, we have been talking for over almost 2.5 hours. And I mean, I can talk for you for days, because you are just an amazing individual. And so I want to thank you for sharing your uh, journey, because I truly believe there's healing in sharing. So I want to just tell you, I mean, that this has been a huge honor. Um, I thank you, thank you, thank you. And here is the cool part. My podcast is in 121 countries on 6 continents. I am hashtag all blessed. Now, what if a um uh, what if one of my awesome global uh, uh, listeners, I wanted to reach out to you. How would they do that?
Yeah, so with that, they can always email me. But I think I left my email with you in case you'd like to share that, like in the show notes. Um, they can always find me on my LinkedIn page and message me from there. You know, pretty open all my emails, like all my DMs on LinkedIn. So please reach out if you feel so inclined. I'm really happy to get to know all your viewers if they want to reach out.
How cool. I will have all of those hyperlinks into the podcast show notes. And I mean, I just had to say just one more time, you are a bright light. I mean, I see nothing but but success in your future. And so, I mean, I am just honored. You know, um, I am honored and blessed to have this opportunity to speak with you because you are amazing. And so, down the line, let's do this again because I'm sure you have other experiences that
Of
that
course.
we could talk about. But I mean, this has just been a huge honor, and I thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, thank you so much for having me, Pedro. This has been a wonderful experience. A very thought provoking one as well. And I would be happy to come again on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a great day. Take care, be well, and stay safe.